What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. Sorry for that weird, drawn-out beginning to that. I had to fix something on Rumble's end, but we are there now, so we're okay. Welcome back to the channel. Here on Tuesday, I run the show on Tuesday. I'm letting Jeremy handle Thursdays because, I get a break. I get more important shit to do than to make these guys internet famous. But, it's all going to work out in the end. But we are starting with, we're celebrating the birth of our nation. That's what this whole month is about. So why not start with a movie aptly named Independence Day? It just makes sense. One of the greatest action films of all time. Here to talk about it with me are two awesome people, starting with my hetero life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
I'm putting Thursday shit together, so don't mind me.
You better make that shit work. Make it right. Make it awesome. Better be up to my production levels, which are very high. Because I'm wallowing away with my 840-something subscribers. So better be at a high level, Jeremy, because somebody's got to make this channel look good, and it certainly ain't going to be me. Joined, of course, from the southern border, not quite close to Alligator Alcatraz, but he's closest of all of us. So if we need somebody to go down and report from the ground over there, we're going to send him. The Shape of Lone Star State, my man, Tex. What's up, brother?
Hey, I like alligator. I'll go gator hunting right now. That'd be great. But they say this is our Independence Day, right? Are we sure this film is not a propaganda piece of the one world government? Think about what the president says in this movie. July 4th will no longer be an American Independence Day, but everybody's. Is this pushing one world government propaganda? I think we need to get Alex Jones on the phone about this. He might know something. I'm just curious about it.
He has been right more times than I want to admit.
This is true. This is true. I'm just saying, what better way in the 90s? I mean, we all know how turbulent the 90s were politically. Bill Clinton, cigars, and all kind of whatnot. Was this a one world government propaganda piece? I mean, were the aliens in on the conspiracy? Reagan talked about Star Wars. All kinds of shit going on here. We can get all kinds of ways with this one.
As long as the aliens get their green card and stay legally, we're okay. But let's go ahead and get down to business. We are here to talk about, of course, Independence Day, which was also promoted as ID4, which I always thought was a little bit of a cooler title. It is the 1996 American science fiction action film directed by Roland Emmerich, written by Emmerich and the film's producer, Dean Devlin. The film stars an ensemble cast of Will Smith, Bill Pullman, Jeff Goldblum, Mary McDonnell, Judd Hirsch, Margaret Colin, Randy Quaid, Robert Loggia, Vivica A, James Rebhorn, and Harvey Fierstein. The film follows desperate groups of people who converge in the Nevada desert in the aftermath of a worldwide attack by a powerful extraterrestrial race. With the other people of the world, they launch a counterattack on July 4th, Independence Day in the United States. Upon its release on July 3rd, 1996, Independence Day was considered a pivotal moment for the Hollywood blockbuster, leading the resurgence of disaster and science fiction films in the late 90s. The film received generally positive reviews from critics, praised for its cast performances, musical score, and visual effects, but it was criticized for its character development. It emerged as a major commercial success at the box office, grossing over $817.4 million worldwide. That's an insane number for the mid-90s. On a production budget of just $75 million. It became the highest grossing film of the year and the second highest grossing film of all time at that time, behind only Jurassic Park in 1993. Rotten Tomatoes reports that 68% of 81 surveyed critics give Independence Day a positive review, the average rating of 6.6 out of 10. The site's critical consensus reads, quote, "The plot is thin and so is character development, but as thrilling, spectacle-filled summer movie Independence Day delivers." A sequel, Independence Day Resurgence, was released 20 years later on June 24th of 2016 as part of a planned film series. Let's get down to it now. I'll start with you, Tex. Give me your quick thoughts on Independence Day before we get into all the good stuff.
Yeah, people are hard. I don't know. I've never understood some of the hate for this. I love this movie. This was one of the few VHS tapes that my grandfather would wear the fuck out. I mean, he had multiple copies of this damn movie. It's stupid how many that he had. This is a 1950s sci-fi movie filmed in the 90s, look. Is literally all this movie is. This isn't Shakespeare. This isn't fucking Hamlet. This is hey, come see our movie, buy some popcorn, and watch shit blow up. It's of course we'll get into plot wise and everything else. And I do have issues with the plot, especially how I think this movie's kind of stretched out a bit, but I'll touch on that later. But Yeah, I love this movie. When you think, I mean, I do think it's kind of fitting this week. We're talking about two of the biggest summer blockbusters of all time, with one being the original. But yeah, I love this film. It's so much fun to watch at any point in time, and it's a movie you can turn it on, turn your brain off, and enjoy every second of it. I mean, I don't know anybody who doesn't like this movie. So yeah, I'm a fan.
Jerry, how about you? Give me your quick thoughts on Independence Day.
Yeah, it's a good popcorn movie. You don't have to think about it, because if you have to suspend your disbelief that aliens are going to come down and kill us all inconveniently on the weekend of 4th of July, I mean, I don't know how you can't just get behind that and let people do their thing and let the whole world just give a middle finger to a bunch of aliens. This is a yearly watch for me. This is this is the one I watch every year on 4th of July. So, and it never gets old. It's never, dull. It doesn't wear itself out. You can quote this movie all day and still have just as much fun the first time you ever saw it. So I don't know what all the hate's about.
Yeah, I think that recently some of the hate has come from Will Smith. Obviously, the whole Oscar thing hasn't done his image or his filmography any good. But the reality is, this is kind of a classic. I mean, it's got kind of everything you wanted, especially from that era of film. It's got big stars. Will Smith was becoming a big star. I mean, this was, I think, right around the time that Bad Boys came out. So he was transitioning from Fresh Prince and some of the smaller roles into being, the big bankable star that Will Smith would eventually become. Bill Pullman, already kind of a big star. Goldblum, already a big star. And then you've got this grandiose alien epic about them coming down and destroying entire cities all in one shot. It's what a great disaster film, even from the 70s, because the 70s had some great disaster films. It kind of had what some of those films had. It's just going to scare the shit out of you and then give you the happy ending. And that's kind of what I want from these films. I want to feel like that the world's about to end until one crazy guy flies his airplane into the big giant laser and saves the day. And that's it kind of gives you all that. Is the plot a little thin? Maybe. I mean, but you're already talking about aliens.
These kind of movies don't need a plot. That's the point. Well,
they need a plot, but they need enough plot to entertain. I'm not looking for Shakespeare.
They need enough plot to get to the next scenery is what they need. Like I said, this ain't fucking Shakespeare.
Yeah, you need enough plot to have a story and to kind of push things along. Let the characters and the action and the one-liners. This is one of those movies that I talk about all the time. Just turn your brain off, stuff your face full of popcorn, and just have fun with it. We're not looking for Shakespeare here, and it does. It delivers that in spades, in my opinion. But let's get to the talk now. Let's start with the works of Roland Emmerich. Boy, he has been involved in some pretty crazy movies over the years. I forgot to pull up this thing, but I don't know. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. Roland Emmerich's been around for quite some time now. He's been involved in some of the biggest blockbusters of the last 30 years. What do you think of his work overall, specifically how he did with this movie?
He does do a lot of the same, not same, but he does like big scale disaster movies pretty well. Obviously, like Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow, 2012. Oh yeah, The Patriot. And it's like, do we address the elephant in the room? I don't know why every single one of these movies has to have like, hey, there's a dad who's kind of like, there's either no mom or it's like, yeah, the dad's kind of like not shitty, but just like the only person who's like in these kids' lives. I'm like, it's a weird trend to keep putting in your movies, man, but whatever. Although no, I think that's the wrong movie I'm thinking of. That was Shyamalan who did that with Signs.
Yeah,
but we're not going to talk about that.
Different set of
aliens. No, if Shyamalan never makes a movie again, it won't be fucking soon enough. But that's beside the point. No, this yeah. And then this one specifically, like I said, it's like, this was before Day After Tomorrow and obviously 2012, stuff like that. So, he's got the chops to make these kind of big, grand scale, epic, disaster type movies. And like we said, they're all, pretty fun movies in their own right. I mean, I don't think I've seen 2012 since it came out. I've seen Day After Tomorrow multiple times. And then obviously this one I started watching every year as a tradition. So yeah, no, he makes some pretty fun popcorn movies, as we said, several times. I meant to say in the beginning, I'm everybody get your buttons ready, because I'll have to see how Frank is going to tell me why this movie sucks and why the 90s sucks as a whole all day. So I'll be waiting for the clips. So I'll have my hand over the button.
You gonna give me their handy? You know the whole giving Frank a handy thing ended up on Alex the garbage man on Monday.
Oh my god, he clipped that perfectly. Like, that was such a great movie. That was amazing.
But I don't need a handy from Jeremy to tell you that I've never said the 90s were terrible. I just meant not as good as the 80s. There was some crap coming out of the 90s. There was some crap coming out of the 80s.
Please tell me how this movie is terrible, because all these movies in the 90s were terrible.
Well, no.
This is on the list. Terrible. This is one of my big hitters.
This movie, look, I won't lie. This movie has got. It's got great visuals. It's got great action. It's got a few heartfelt scenes in it, like when the president's wife dies. That's just sad. I mean, you have to have no heart to not look at that and be like, oh, damn, that kind of sucks. But I mean, there's been better action movies made with better story. This movie, to me, I guess the more modern equivalent is The Expendables. I mean, definitely not alien invasion, kind of very different plots. But one of the things
that's a different kind of movie, though.
True. Totally different genres. I get it. But one of the things I've always liked about The Expendables is that movie did not pretend to be what it was. It didn't pretend to be an Oscar movie.
Okay, I see that.
He looked at it, was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get some of the great action stars of the last 25 years together, and we're going to make an action movie, and it's going to be one-liners and explosion. It's going to be just enough of a story to where we can say we have something to do other than go blow shit up, and that's it. And that's why those movies, at least especially the first one, turned out to be so good, is because they knew exactly what it was, and that's what they advertised that movie to be. That's what they told fans it was going to be. That's what they gave fans. That's what fans wanted. It was the perfect relationship of what we wanted, what we got, and everything worked out great. This movie's kind of the same thing. I think maybe at this point we didn't know we wanted to get back to the disaster films of the 70s, things like Airport and my daughter loves to call me right in the middle of all this stuff. But things like Airport 77 or The Towering Inferno, the way some of those movies hit in the 70s. It was something like that, but on a much grander scale that was going to still be different. They could have remade one of those movies in the 90s. They're like, no, we're going to go different now. We're going to go with the alien invasion. Because remember, it was about this time that the CIA and the Clinton administration were finally starting to admit to, okay, maybe we do have this Area 51 thing. We're not going to talk about it too much. And so the UFO thing was kind of up front in everybody's mind. So going to the aliens and making them a thing was probably the right idea. Look, dude, this movie it's good action schlock. The way that some horror movies are just good horror schlock. They just kind of give you the 2 or 3 things you have to have a solid slasher film without having really any substance to it. But the flip side is there is some decent substance to this movie. I mean, the relationship between Will Smith and Jada and Vivica A. Fox is real. The relationship stuff between Goldblum's character and his estranged wife is real. Between him and his dad is real. It had good character stuff, but obviously what drove this movie was the action and the alien stuff that was happening. As far as Emmerich's work is concerned, I mean, good God, let's go back through his stuff. Some of his early stuff I've never heard of. You get to Universal Soldier in the early 90s. Not a great movie. All he did was direct it. He didn't write it or produce it, but still kind of goofy. Stargate is kind of a sci-fi classic. I can't really knock that one. Independent.
Got Kurt Russell in. Got to be half good.
And look, unpopular opinion: the 1998 Godzilla film, while not a very good Godzilla movie, it's pretty fucking entertaining. There's
where I draw the line.
It is not a good Godzilla movie, but it's a fun movie to watch.
No, I will disagree as harshly as I possibly can. I love Godzilla. I was growing up on watching Monster Vision on TNT with Joe Bob Briggs, where he'd show 15 Godzilla movies every other week. I love the Godzilla franchise. And that Godzilla 98, whatever that was, Jesus Christ, that thing. I'm not saying he should be brought up on war crimes for making that movie, but definitely maybe consider a life in prison for how bad that thing was.
Well, like I said,
that was horrible.
It's a bad Godzilla movie, but it's a fun movie to watch.
But I will say, I maybe I can reprieve him because he did also make The Patriot, and that's one of the most awesome patriotic movies ever. So maybe we can let him off of that sentence. I don't know. We'll decide. But yes, he does need to be chastised in public for ruining Godzilla for so long. So that he does need to be held accountable for that.
Yeah, it also seems to me that he's kind of at his best when he's just pulling out all the stops and going way overboard. I mean, between this movie, Godzilla, Day After Tomorrow, 10,000 BC, and 2012, they're all like super disaster movies. So maybe he's kind of at his best when he's just like, well, maybe 10,000 BC isn't so much.
What Roland Emmerich is. He's like a director that you would see that makes movies for like the Sci-Fi Channel. That's like alligator versus crocodile apocalypse, just with more money, is what he is. Well, literally, that's what most of his movies are, and that's not a bad thing. I love a good B apocalypse type movie, and I mean, people, people like Tarantino make the crime dramas. Everybody has their speciality. This guy, Roland Emmerich, he firmly belongs in the, oh my God, the world's ending, except for one guy is going to save it all. Some of them aren't as good as others, but I mean, you can't not think about Independence Day, July 4th wise, and not think about this movie, right? And that really speaks to something. He's left his mark in so many different ways, whether it's bad with Godzilla or stuff like this. I mean, hell, look at what he gave us in 2012. Just for the Woody Harrelson scene alone in Yellowstone, whenever he's up in the air on that parachute, watching the world explode. Just for that one scene in that movie, it's worth watching. He's done some cool shit. He's a very epic style director, which is what I like about him. I mean, how can you not think about Mel Gibson waving the American flag? Just some cool shots.
I would say that lately he has struggled a bit to find his creative footing. I mean,
I'll agree with that. I mean, hell, when did Independence Day Research? 2016, I think that came out. Because it was the same year as Suicide Squad and Captain America: Civil War. So that had to be 2016.
Because going back to 2013, he made that movie White House Down, which was just not good. Because
I didn't see that. I still haven't seen that.
A lot of people, you shouldn't. I mean, Olympus Has Fallen came out, and that
is that the one with Gerard Butler says the president?
That's the one with Gerard Butler. White House Down was like it was one of those things where like the other production company is making this movie about the president being taken hostage and the White House being under siege. So they better make a similar movie like that right now, and they kind of rushed it out. They came out with White House Down, which was, I mean, Jamie Foxx as the president was okay. I could not get with Channing Tatum as like a Secret Service agent or a cop. He's just too goofy. And Stonewall, which I never heard of. I feel like I should have, but I haven't. It's got some actors in it, whatever. Matt Craven, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, Ron Perlman. But Independence Day Resurgence, we'll talk a little bit about that later. Midway, which I still haven't seen yet. I don't know why. That came out in 2019. And then
seen that one either.
And then Moonfall, which almost got as bad reviews as Cats a few years ago. That movie was just terrible. I still can't bring myself to watch it, that movie. I've heard so much bad shit about that movie. And now he's also got a Stargate reboot, apparently, that he's working on. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But, at this point, I mean, he's the guy that's he's the one that's like the king of the disaster film. I almost would have rather him, instead of doing some of those last couple movies, gone back and remade something like Towering Inferno, which is one of my favorite all-time disaster movies. It's 7 hours long, it feels like. It's actually like 2 hours and 45 minutes long, which for 1976 or 77 was like, that was just stupid. Nobody ever made a movie that long back then, but they did. And
I could also make the same argument about this movie, and I plan to later, just on the runtime. But
this movie wasn't
Lawrence of Arabia like 4 hours long.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was unheard of at the time. Up until we get to the probably late 90s into the 2000s, anything over 2 hours was kind of, they just tried to avoid it because they wanted to make sure they were getting as many screenings as they could to make money. Now you're making a 3.5 hour long Avengers movie or Justice League movie and nobody cares. But it won't work for all movies, obviously. But yeah, he's been a solid director most of his career. Hopefully, I'm kind of interested in the Stargate reboot because Stargate was really good, deep sci-fi. Like that was really good stuff. Really story driven, really character driven, really good. And it's odd that he would go from something like Stargate to something like Moonfall. It's like I know there's a long time between those two movies, but somebody who's managed to tell good sci-fi stories,
now,
how does he end up with Moonfall after doing something as good as Stargate?
as far as now, I've seen the Stargate film with Kurt Russell and the dude that voiced Ultron. I can't remember his name right now. James Spader. Is that in the same universe as the TV show SG-1 or whatever, or is that different?
It's the SG-1 is the TV show version of that movie. It's not. It's okay. It's basically telling the story of the movie just in episodic format, kind of like the MASH TV show was a serialized, more comedic version of the 1971 film MASH.
Okay, I've seen an episode of Stargate SG-1 here or there. Nothing really to pay attention to, but I've seen the film a few times over the years. But I didn't care enough to watch the shows, so I didn't.
The shows are really good. My dad was a big fan of Stargate. He was always really into the deep sci-fi, like the original run of Star Trek and all that stuff in the 60s. But let's move on now and talk about the cast. I mean, Jesus, it's just loaded. I mean, Will Smith, Harry Connick Jr., Robert Loggia. I mean, people who were either big time on the come up or have already arrived, and they had really great acting credits to their name. I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What do you think of the cast of the film, and who stood out to you the most?
You're asking me to pick out of all 874 people that are in this
movie? I only asked you to pick one.
Yeah, out of that many. Yeah, well, I do think that this movie does have a lot going on because it's also about 6 hours long. But there are, you're following different kind of subplots, different stories of different people experiencing this event going on. From Will Smith, wanting to propose to his stripper girlfriend, from Jeff Goldblum having talks with his dad in the park and talking about his ex-wife, to Randy Quaid being, Randy Quaid, day drinking and crop dusting, as you do, getting abducted by aliens, normal stuff.
That's the life. That's the life right there, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll agree. And then you got, what is he, fucking Data from Star Trek, who is just like a hermit inside Area 51, getting all excited about the alien stuff going off. I mean, even just Bill Pullman as the president. I think we've talked about this before in terms of like fictional presidents. I'm like, he's up there, and this is in the same era as like you're putting him up against like Harrison Ford in Air Force One. Also in the 90s. I think. True. That's a hard sell, but I mean, yeah, but. You compare that to, I mean, just the speech alone that he gives at the end of the movie right before they're about to go up there and start kicking ET's ass. Like, I mean, damn, if that don't get you just all hyped up, even if you don't know how to fly a fucking plane, you're like, hell yeah, let's go get him. I mean, I definitely do like Bill Pullman's character, especially as the president. I think he's like I said, he just for that speech alone. That definitely gets you a win. So that's where I'm going with it.
Tex, how about you? What do you think of the cast of the film? Who stood out to you the most?
Oh, Jesus! I mean, it's like the casting director of, which actors in Hollywood would you like to cast in this film? He just said yes. He just wanted all of it. That's I think that's kind of how the casting call probably went to this one. Which I think like I've got a bit of a soapbox I'll get on later, but it's got to be my boy Randy Quaid. I mean, come on. He goes from dude so drunk he's crop dusting the wrong field on the side of the town to saving the planet. It's which kids take this as a little PSA. One cup of coffee can completely sober you up like you never had a drop of alcohol ever in your life. This dude goes from drinking full on gallons of whatever liquor he's got to he's as sober as a bird now. I picked a hell of a day to quit drinking. Yada yada, whatever. Like, because that that's definitely how that works. But Randy Quaid, I mean, he's the he is both the hero and the comedic joke of this film. And that's really hard to do good in a movie and still take a character seriously. But he's so good at playing the crazy guy. I mean, fuck, he's Cousin Eddie's, Griswolds. I mean, who doesn't love Cousin Eddie? Merry Christmas, Shittersville, the whole thing. And sure, he plays one type of character, but he is, there is something to be said about someone who understands the role in Hollywood. They know what kind of roles they're good at, and they go out and fulfill those. And Randy Quaid, he makes this movie, man. Oh, they probed him, and he's crazy. And hello, boys, I'm back. And in the words of my generation, F yours, and saves the whole world. It's just so cool. And that's one of the things about movies like this is they're so quotable, and that's what used to make movies fun. Nowadays, it's hit or miss. We don't get nearly as many quotable movies as we used to, but thanks to people like Randy Quaid in movies like this, it's just one of those things. It's, he's awesome in this movie.
Yeah, shout out Mellow Yellow. What's up, brother?
Go on, Mellow.
It's been a long time. We need to get some of the old Derailed crew back together and just have a fucking crazy hangout one night.
Shit.
Get drunk and do what we used to do in the Derailed days.
If we can ever get Drew off of Grand Theft Auto, we might pull something together.
I forgot every time I think to myself, like, I'm going to call Drew. I haven't talked to him in a while. I'll look at my phone as a notification. Derailed is now live, playing some kind of
right. Yeah,
I'll talk to you anyway, Drew, you bastard. But
Drew's killing it with the OCR MP, whatever that thing that he does. But yeah, he's killing it.
Good.
Well.
But you mentioned you mentioned Russell Case, that character, dude. Randy Quaid.
He's so good
for all of his off-camera weirdness that happened to him the last several years. You look at his career, and he has done like goofy roles like this and drama at a very, very high level. I mean, don't forget he was in Days of Thunder, where he played the owner of the racing team. That was a very dramatic role for him.
I love Days of Thunder. Boy, I'm obviously a NASCAR fan, but I love Days. It's my favorite Tom Cruise movie.
He can do something serious like Days of Thunder and then go be, Cousin Eddie. Hey, shitter's full. And he's equally good in both of them, which is, look, I don't think anybody has ever given him the credit that he deserves. Getting kind of
both him and his brother, Dennis and Randy Quaid, they're both just excellent actors. And anything that they're in, hell, I just saw Dennis Quaid in the Reagan movie not too long ago.
That movie was amazing.
Oh, yeah. it's just the Quaid family. And hell, Jack Quaid was in a couple of movies, from The Boys and a couple of movies that we've seen recently. So they're one of the Hollywood families that people, I don't know if they get talked about as much as they should, but they're really good.
But yeah, but the cast here is fantastic. I mean, it's hard not to like Jeff Goldblum. I mean, he's one of those guys who's just kind of good.
Come on now, he plays a horrible drunk though. My God, when he's stumbling around, that scene always makes me just roll my eyes.
I'm willing to bet that if he actually gets drunk, that he is just like that. Because some people,
I don't know.
Some people when they get drunk or they are otherwise inebriated, they become kind of different people. Some people are just stay themselves. They're just slightly more goofy than they are normally, and that's how you tell that they're really drunk, because it's that one little thing that's off about them that is never off. I have a feeling that if he gets drunk, that's kind of how he acts. Is he just kind
of it's like the way that he plays that scene. It's like he's a teenager who drank for the first time, but isn't actually drunk, but he's pretending to be. It's kind of always how I've seen him in that scene. I mean, now in other parts of this movie, he's great. Like he's yelling about the recycling, pulling Coke cans, which. I guess Coke was a promotional sponsor for this movie because nobody drinks anything but Coke in this movie. I did notice that upon a rewatch.
Well,
but,
product
just Goldblum's got right. Oh yeah.
But like I said, for me, Randy Quaid is great. Will Smith, I've said it before. All the Oscar stuff notwithstanding, and all the him being a cuck. Since then, look, I've said it 100 times. Will Smith is actually a really good actor, and for one, I also love Harry Connick Jr. Let's be honest. Everything about Harry Connick Jr. is great, but I will tell everybody, if you want to see how good Will Smith can be as an actor, go watch this movie called 7 Pounds. Just phenomenal job.
Is that the one where he wants to be a stockbroker, or is that a different movie?
No, that's I forget the name of the movie.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah, Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, okay.
No, it's without giving too much of it away. Before the movie starts, he is at fault in a accident, and he's like a doctor, rich doctor or something like that. And before the events of the movie, him and his wife are on the way home from a party late at night. He falls asleep. He's not drunk driving, but like because he's fatigued, he is the cause of an accident that takes the life of 7 people, including his wife. And the title is I
haven't seen that one.
It's an allusion to what they say in the Bible about a pound of flesh for every life you take. So
right.
It's those 7 lives that he took that he's trying to give his pound of flesh to try to feel right about it all. And the way it goes through Rosario Dawson, Woody Harrelson, such a great movie, a great cast, a great movie, very emotional stuff. And the ending is one that will melt your skull if you're one of those people that likes that kind of thing. I do. I loved it. I thought it was a great ending. But he acts the fuck out of that movie. I mean, that movie
Welcome to Earth.
That movie is so driven by him. And I really thought at the time, like after making like this and Bad Boys, I was like, okay, he's graduated from Fresh Prince up to being a movie star now, and this is what his career is going to be. He's going to do these action things. Men in Black was right about this time, maybe a year or two after that.
Oh, Men in Black's great.
So I was like, okay,
at least the first 2. I don't think I saw the third one.
Yeah, there's a bit of a drop off from the third. There's a bit of a drop off after the second one, but it's like, but yeah, he's actually really good in this movie. In the points where he has to act, most of it is just the one-liners. But in the moments where he has to act, like this scene, I mean, yeah, it's kind of the scene to help keep the girls in it, kind of more romance, more and stuff like that. But it's like it's still a scene where the emotions are high. And Vivica A. Fox, who had already been in, I think Soul Food had come out at this time. Soul Food's a great movie, but she's already got some acting chops to her. But Will Smith is still a bit of a rookie at this point, and he does it very, very well. But I mean, this entire cast. I mean, Bill Pullman, the speech. I mean, that's one of the most inspirational speeches you've ever heard in a movie. I think it's even like in the it was on some list that came out a long time ago in THR about like the top 10 most inspirational moments in movie history, and his speech is one of them.
That speech is like, I can't tell you how many times I've been to a sports game, whether it's football, baseball, whatever, where if like the home team is down, they will play the audio from that speech to try to get the crowd back into the game or whatever, just because it's so good at just, getting that, hoorah spirit kind of going. It speaks to everybody. It's so good. It works.
But let's see. Jeremy, I think I already got to you, right? Sorry, I was talking too much. I lost track.
You started with them.
Let's go on to the plot now. And I mean, aliens invade. That's the plot. I mean, I'll go to you first, Tex. I mean, a pretty simple plot. The plot just basically drives all the visuals in this movie to an extent. What do you think of the plot of the film? Did it work for you? Is there anything you would have changed?
I mean, yeah, there's enough plot. I mean, y'all know me. I don't like it. I like more of like most of the movies I like have little or just enough plot to not get in the way. And I like that kind of movie. But the problem with this one was there's too much going on. I mean, this should have been a 90-minute B movie, exploitation alien thing. We got 15 different subplots in here. Hell, you don't see an alien until like an hour in. And I know, I mean, hell, for the movie we're talking about Thursday, the shark doesn't come up till later. But that's for other reasons. This movie, there's stuff I would have changed. I would have cut a lot of the fat in this movie, and I think it would have made it even better. There's so many little subplots that, you get a resolution to them, fine, whatever. But I'm not here for the subplots and the waiting for the aliens. Give me the aliens early and as often as possible with them. And, you're talking about runtimes. How many more showings could they have had of this movie if it wasn't 2.5 hours? They really should have cut down on this one, in my opinion. Now, that being said, when you're watching this film, it doesn't feel like a 2.5 hour movie because it is entertaining. But even that standing, I still would have trimmed out a lot of the fat here.
No, Jeremy, what do you think about the plot? Do you think that they could have used some trimming, or did it all work for you?
Yeah, it is a long movie, and I do agree it doesn't exactly feel like it because you're invested in the in the movie. Now, I like the idea of it kind of being like some sort of anthology of like I said, there's different people experiencing this same event in different ways, which is kind of cool. But I think it got just the right amount. I mean, like I said, I don't know if I needed all of the stories. I know they all come together. Obviously, everybody ends up in most of the same place, and it's like we all have to get together because you have to somehow explain how Jeff Goldblum and then Will Smith are going to go into a spaceship and go to space. So yes, you kind of need to lay groundwork to like, how did that happen? Why is the president flying a plane with other pilots and other people they just kind of corralled together that happened to all end up in Area 51? I mean, you kind of have to explain how you got there because even a ridiculous plot like that needs a little bit of groundwork. But no, I think it's pretty fantastic, and like I said, it's a great build up. I don't mind. I mean, as I'm sitting here, I'm going through images for fucking Jaws. I'm like, right, you don't see the damn shark until how late in the movie? A whole movie about a shark that kills people, and you don't see it at all because it builds up. Now you see ships come in, you see the stuff like, I mean, it's terrifying when you see this thing breaks through the clouds, and you see the city-sized ship just hovering over major cities and landmarks, which is where we get the iconic shots of the White House blowing up, of like the Empire State Building, even though it doesn't actually exist in that that part of town, but whatever, cool shot. It goes boom. It doesn't sit in the middle of the street like that, but whatever, it doesn't matter. And I almost forgot about the stripper went up there and got melted right away, which was kind of funny.
I was like, you moron.
But you have to believe there are people like that.
Yeah, I was just like, come on now. It's like you can be excited, but it's like I would be excited that the aliens are here, but at the same time, I'd be like, but I'm gonna go hang out in this bunker until I'm sure that they're not here to do some shady shit. Because I'm going in the middle of West Texas where there's nothing, and I'm gonna see how things go first. I'm gonna let y'all find out. That's my plan.
You better stay out of Houston because they do nuke Houston out of the fucking.
Oh, dude,
he doesn't like Houston anyway.
Houston, get out of the way of the blast zone. Is what I'm saying. Don't be anywhere near like a big city because they took that shit.
Houston is nothing but traffic and humidity. That's all Houston is. Why would I ever? And trash sports teams, by the way. Let's go Rangers. The Houston Astros suck. So that's beside the point.
Don't let Jennifer Hughes say that. She's a Houston fan. I'm sure Tex watched that part of the movie, the new Houston. He's like, ooh, do Austin next.
Let me find a trash can. Let me find a trash can to beat on. How about that, Houston? Does that work for you? You bunch of cheaters, but different podcasts, so whatever. It's fine.
Yeah,
that's a fun movie.
Dude, I like the play.
You know what's gonna happen. It's like they're gonna win. It's gonna be fun.
Right.
Yeah, I like the plot. I mean, alien invasion. I mean, it had been a while since sci-fi is really weird. It goes in these weird phases where you'll have 5 or 6 years where there'll be some good stuff, and then you'll have like 10 years where the stuff that comes out is just not great, and then the genre seems to die. That's one of the reasons I think that Star Wars has had the lasting appeal that it's had. In the 50s and in the early 60s, sci-fi was really good. And then from the mid-60s all the way up into the mid-late 70s, the genre was kind of dead. And one of the reasons why George Lucas had so many problems, trying to get people to financially back the Star Wars films, the first ones, was because a lot of people were just like, sci-fi doesn't sell anymore. And he's like, well, give me a few million and a couple of months in Tunisia, and I'm going to see how I can prove you wrong. And now we have Star Wars. And then but even then, there's been times like in the early 90s, sci-fi was kind of flagging a little bit because the 80s being mostly style over substance, there was a lot of spectacle. So sci-fi was one of those genres that kind of benefited from it. The 90s, as things started to transition a little bit, they started to get more into I've said before, independent film started to get a big boost in the 90s, and they started to get more into the story and character driven stuff. And then this comes along, it's like, oh, we forgot sci-fi was awesome still, so let's go back into the sci-fi stuff. And then, of course, you have, young, good-looking Will Smith and, all the other actors that were involved in this, and it makes it all really easy to make it big. But it's been fairly hot since then. I mean, there hasn't really been a down period for sci-fi since. There's been movies that have not been great, but the plot is fantastic. I mean, you've got a bunch of people banding together to save the world. I was kind of thinking about this in the back of my head as I was watching it the other day. This is kind of the best way to do some kind of diversity, because, and I have a little bit of trivia about why they censored this movie in certain parts of the world later, but it's like you've got Chinese, American, Russian, Israeli, all these people that are coordinating this one massive attack to save the world, to save themselves, and to save each other. I was like, this was a true moment of unity that, for all the people that scream unity today, they don't even know how to try to put it on camera. So I thought it was a great plot. It was something that in the movie anyway brought the world together, and it was just fun. I could watch this movie without being scared of it actually happening. Although I must admit, when I first went and saw this movie, me and my friend Tony went up to the rave, Jeremy, the theater, and and we went to see it one Friday night. And as we were walking to his car, I think we were both kind of scanning the sky a little bit, like, okay. There was that moment of paranoia where we were like, what if that were to happen right now? Would I shit my pants and then curl up in the fetal position?
Well, that's the whole question of, what? Okay, aliens are about to destroy the Earth. You ain't got much time left. What do you do with your last moments? That's a big question. That's a hard thinker.
But yeah, I like the plot. I mean, I admit that looking at it from a modern perspective, you could have tightened a few story things up. But I mean, for 1996, I mean, they filmed it in 95. I honestly, I can't really knock it. Look, this movie holds up really, really well. Some of the effects don't quite. There was a couple of spots, but most of the effects, they hold up fantastic. I mean, they're not great, but they're still, just looking at it, the way they edit it, the way the action flows, it's really hard to notice some of the obvious little blurbs. But the special effects hold up great. The story is, it's pretty good. I can't really knock the plot of the film. It works out great for what it is. Again, you're talking about aliens invading in city-sized spacecrafts. How often do you see that? I'm going to tell you that we've seen it before a little bit later on. The old man in me is going to come out here in a minute. But, let's move on now to, I mean, look, they made the sequel. I mean, it came out. It was a thing. It happened. I actually watched this movie, the first Independence Day, and
the answer is no.
And Independence Day Resurgence back to back, because I had a Sunday evening to kill. And while I still think that movie is subpar and is not a quality sequel that I was hoping for it to be, I remember liking it a little bit more than when I first saw it, because honestly, I don't think I saw the movie when it first came out, was not a fan of it, and I don't think I've gone back to it since, but I decided to go ahead and watch them back to back just for the effect. And I didn't hate it nearly as much. It's still not a good movie, but there was a few things in there that I think were solid, not great. I mean, I'll go to you first, Tex, even though I'm sure you've already given us your one-word answer. Is there some way to salvage this franchise and make a third film and complete a trilogy, or do we just need to let the dead die?
No, okay. Well, there's always a way. Yes, they could go back and shoot a third film, but I'm going to borrow a different Jeff Goldblum film here. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, kind of thing. And Independence Day 2 was really, really bad. I mean, my God, I saw it the one time. I think that's one of the few films that I only ever saw once, and it's like I told y'all earlier, I felt justified never watching again. That film has no value. Now, it might be somebody's favorite movie. That's fine. God bless you. I'm glad that you like it. But you could reboot it. You could do another Independence Day kind of movie. But no, this doesn't need a trilogy. The only value this would have is with a reboot. But then again, how many different alien invasion movies have been made over the years? So I think the damage of that second film to the name might be too severe that that movie would have to be really, really good to overcome how bad that second one was. I mean, because I can remember back in the day when they were making Independence Day 2, Resurgence or whatever, they had a script with Will Smith and one without. Obviously, they went without. I don't think I've ever read anything about that other script or if it was ever posted or anything, but it had to be better than what that garbage was. I mean, geez, that was horrible. I mean, the floating orb that was actually sent to humanity, and it was, what the fuck is this? They completely, it's like they learned the wrong lessons of what people liked about this one, and they went forward. Earth, like, there was no damage from the first movie in the second one. It was, I don't know, it was bad. But yeah, I would just avoid it and move on. And if I did want to do an alien movie, I would title it something else that completely unrelated, just to not get that stank of Independence Day 2 on my movie. But that's just
me. I don't know. What do you think, Jeremy? Do you think there's a way to salvage this this franchise and possibly make a third movie and finish the trilogy?
I don't know, because I didn't watch 2 because I have more common sense than that.
God bless you for it. You're a better man than I, sir. You're better off than I am.
Because that was one of the first times that, I'm like, why the hell are we making this movie? And that was already where I'm like, no, I'm not going to watch it. I don't care. And
no, bad movie.
Clearly, I made the right choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't know how you would make a third because I didn't see 2 because I'm not doing that to myself. Because this is, I think I mentioned this to Tex before. I was like, if we did like a sub show of like, what do we actually consider canon in franchises? Because now we have so goddamn many of them, so many franchises, so many like 40-year sequels, retcons, and all kinds of bullshit. And I'm like, can we just? And again, like I'm sitting here staring at Jaws. I'm like, to me, there's one Jaws movie. There's not like 6 others that are horribly declining in quality. To me, I'm like, I don't want to ruin the fact that I'm like, there's one good movie, and the same with this. There's one Independence Day. It's a fantastic movie, and I'm not going to bring it down with a subpar sequel. So, I don't know. I would have maybe not gone with a third. I'm like, if you want to remake this movie, that's a little different. Like, if you want to remake it, like, I don't think it needs to be done, but I mean, you could pretty some stuff up and make. I mean, yeah, it's alien invasion. We were just talking like. We've seen zombie movies. We've seen disaster movies. We've seen alien. We've seen dinosaurs about 17 times now. But they're still entertaining. So maybe go with a remake route. But, I mean, I don't know what you would do with that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the remake angle is that the stink of Resurgence that was left in the theaters is not quite
that's what I mean.
Been washed away. So
yeah, that's what I was saying.
Even if you did want to kind of reboot and start everything over again, new actors and everything, I think that stink would still be there. For me, you guys know me. When it comes to movies, hope springs eternal. I think there's enough there to work.
Hope or delusion? Which one?
They're fine line. Sometimes it's a fine line, but there was aspects of Resurgence that I thought were good. There were some characters I thought you could work with. The reality, honestly, what hurt the second one for me is not bringing back Will Smith. Not because not because the movie couldn't happen without Will Smith. I feel like they handled the absence of his character wrong. I feel now the way I've read it is that they wrote.
Wasn't he dead? Didn't his character die by the time 2 came out?
Yes. As a matter of fact, some of the websites and stuff that came out as part of the marketing said that his character he ended up working with Jeff Goldblum's character to help build all this new stuff that they got from the alien tech to help defend the Earth, and he was test piloting one of those ships that his son flies in the movie, and the ship crashed and he died. And that's how it explains that he's not around. I was just like, I would have thought that it would have been much smarter to just explain him away. Either way, you don't have him on screen. Killing him seems a little too final. And if you really did want to try to because they made this thinking they were going to make a third movie. They weren't expecting this movie to brick the way it did in theaters and critically. But I would have written him off, but not out. So that way he's still out there somewhere, and you can still use his character. Oddly, I mean, look what the Fast and Furious franchise did with the Brian character. They say he's out there.
That's so ridiculous.
But now, granted, different circumstances. That actor actually passed away, and you have to figure something out. But I mean, and you can't really kill him off screen. You don't really have the option to kill him on screen because that would have been any better. So how do you handle that? But I mean, look, I wouldn't have eliminated him from the equation so quickly, especially considering that you want a third film to come out. Because maybe if you make the second film and it does pretty well, you can look at him and say, "Hey, Will, all this thing needed to go from being an $800 million movie to maybe $1 billion movie as Will Smith on camera. Maybe you come do this and you can be one of those first guys that makes $1 billion in the theater." And why they didn't do that, I don't know. Apparently, they actually sat and talked with him. He wanted $50 million to do the picture, which even at that point was pretty. Because that was Robert Downey Jr.
He was playing. He was in Suicide Squad playing Floyd Lawton, Deadshot. I mean, the year that Independence Day 2 came out. So it wasn't like he wasn't working. I mean, how many Bad Boys movies that came out by that point, the multiple other films that he had done, throughout the years. And hell, he was doing, Suicide Squad the year that one come out. So, I don't think Will Smith deserves a $50 million payday for a movie. But, I mean, I don't think most actors, hell, I wouldn't have paid Robert Downey Jr. what they paid him to come back for these 2 Avengers movies or whatever. But, this is why Hollywood is where they are. They're overpaying everybody.
Well, I mean, I think that's more maybe it's a different story. That's a whole different podcast. I think maybe it's just the economics of Hollywood. I mean, eventually, look, Robert Downey Jr. They feel comfortable paying him that money because A, he's kind of the face of the franchise, and B, they know that movie's going to make $1 billion. They're looking at that. The dollar signs are already rolling.
It better make $1 billion because otherwise, they're going to be in trouble.
But at the time, it's like you couldn't have imagined that. I mean, at this point, Resurgence would have been a legacy sequel. I mean, you're talking about 1996 to 2016.
Yeah, it'd been a 20-year sequel.
So you're talking about 20 years. You're not exactly sure how it's going to go over. You think it's going to do well because this movie was so well loved, but you can't be sure. So $50 million 10 years ago would have been. I don't even think Robert Downey Jr. was making that kind of money then.
Something Jeremy said a minute ago is exactly right. Once again, I'm so glad we're talking Jaws on Tuesday because Jaws is the perfect example. Jaws is the perfect example of we don't need a universe or a franchise. We're going to walk up to the plate, call our shot, hit a home run, and walk away like a champ. Because, I mean, I love creature feature movies of alligators, sharks, whatever they are. There has yet to be as good of a shark movie as Jaws till this day. And they tried it with Jaws 2 and then 3 and The Revenge 3 and then Jaws 4 was 3D or something. I can't remember how they all
3D and 4 was The Revenge.
After part
was 4 The Revenge? Okay, yeah.
I think so.
But that's what I'm saying. Not everything needs a universe. Now, 2016, DC, Marvel, everything was going. But yeah, that Independence Day was a one-off, man. I mean, how many times can you have aliens come to Earth to destroy it and think it's going to be as big of a success? So, yeah, it wouldn't have worked. And it didn't work, obviously.
I think it could work maybe for a trilogy. You'd have to be really careful what story elements you take to move forward, though. You'd obviously have to, if not retcon, certainly ignore a few things from Resurgence. Maybe
completely ignore that we made a second. Now, I'll tell you what, they would have to do the Halloween Texas Chainsaw thing and completely forget that the second movie ever existed, create another timeline where Will Smith didn't die and he became the president or something. I don't know. That's the only thing that they could do.
Well,
or read. That's the only one.
I've seen movies in the past just be like, oh, well, this character didn't actually die. He was in a internment camp from the enemy. We went and rescued him, and now he's back. And then, like I always say, you're one line of dialogue away from explaining the most ridiculous shit you do.
He found the Infinity Stone to go to another universe. He's a different Will Smith. He just looks like the other one. They can do the Marvel thing. There you go.
But I don't know. I feel like there's a way to save this. I don't know if it can be done by the people that are watching now, or B, if anybody's going to want to put the money into it, they're not going to. For what it's worth, let me see. God, I just read this somewhere. Let me go back and.
While you're doing that,
when Independence Day Regurgence was released on June 24th, 2016, the sequel, unlike the original, was both critical and commercial failure, making further sequels unlikely. Furthermore, in March of 2018, LMR Online reported that after having met producer Dean Devlin at WonderCon and asking about the status of Independence Day 3, Devlin told him, I don't know. Currently, I personally have no plans for doing another one. A year later, Emmerich stated that once Walt Disney purchased Fox, he thought the chances of a third movie were over, but still has hopes the project could happen given Disney's preferences for franchise films. That's his way of saying that. Both their ways of saying that they don't think it's going to fucking happen.
That's like,
I love that you almost messed up. And it sounded like you said Independence Day Regurgence. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty. That's
what I've always called it because I didn't like the movie. I like the movie.
That's basically to speak of, just like whenever, James Gunn is asked, is the Batman 2 still happening? Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. And then you don't hear anything for 5 months. A little bit of information comes out, but nothing ever comes out. That's the same.
Well, they did just say that they finally have a script for Batman 2.
Right, but I've heard that 15 times in the last year. Then, it's going to be another 6 months. No, that's called being in production hell. That's, that loop of movies that never get made. But the problem with Independence Day is, at its heart, it's an alien invasion. This is not a franchise like a Halloween or a Texas Chainsaw, where you have a titular Michael Myers or Leatherface. It's just aliens. So very generic. So you can't build enough of a brand around that because it's just not going to work as well. And, the aliens are cool in this movie. Hell, one of the skulls, in the newest Predator movie that's coming out this year, one of the skulls of one of these aliens is in the Predator ship if you look on the wall. So the aliens left a mark, but the franchise, no, it's not. We'll never see another one. And if we do, it's going to be some low budget thing that's probably not good. So I wouldn't expect much from it.
Yeah, I don't imagine we're going to be seeing a sequel. I don't imagine we're going to see a remake or a reboot either. I just don't think that there's enough of a.
Well, what are you going to do? It's an alien movie. It's an alien invasion movie on July the 4th. It's Independence Day. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what people are saying.
Now, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I have ideas that sound good in my head canon, but after I write them on paper and say them out loud, they might sound retarded. So I'll just leave it at that because what do I know? But I don't know. Go down in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. Is there a possibility that they could fix this and have a solid third movie to finish the trilogy? I personally doubt it. But let's get into some trivia now, and there is plenty available for this movie. Obviously, it's been out for about 1 million years. Let's talk money. And they dropped the bomb on the Super Bowl for sure. While Independence Day was still in post-production, Fox began an expensive marketing campaign to help promote the film, beginning with the airing of a dramatic commercial during Super Bowl 30, for which it paid $1.3 million for a 30-second spot. The film's subsequent success at the box office resulted in a trend of using Super Bowl airtime to begin the advertising campaigns for potential blockbusters.
Oh yeah,
that's why we get the Super Bowl trailers, kids.
This film is one of the reasons of the summer blockbuster of this has to be top 5 summer blockbusters of all time. In 96, you couldn't go anywhere and not see advertisement for this. I think I read somewhere they spent like over $30 million just in advertising alone. It was everywhere. It was in the stores.
For 1996, that was basically what, if you adjust for inflation, that's all he spent for the Avengers movies.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They spent
Like
over
it's
$30 million
ridiculous
just in advertising this thing. It was in, I can remember clips, commercials and everything going. It was all out there, and it, the shot of there was one commercial that I can remember seeing. It was like 2 seconds of like the White House starting to blow up, and then they cut it. See, Independence Day, July the 4th, blah, 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 whatever. And, this is one of those movies, this was a spectacle movie, which is what a summer blockbuster should be. And, it's kind of like, hell, I just saw F1. Frank, I know you saw F1. That was a spectacle movie. That's what these kind of movies are supposed to be. It's fast race cars going down the track with fireworks going on. It's ooh-ahs. It's turn your brain off and shove popcorn in your mouth kind of thing. And that's why these kind of movies work. And that's why they spend the big bucks to put them in the Super Bowl. So, of course.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why Super Bowl advertising is so damn expensive.
Right.
But one of the keys to this movie is the absolute destruction that happens, around every corner in this movie. Where's the one? I wanted one shot. Here it is, right here. We're going to go to this particular one. I think it's kind of fitting this next piece of trivia. Independence Day was originally scheduled to be aired on Fox on September the 16th of 2001, but it was canceled following the attacks. Fox replaced the airing of Independence Day with a repeat airing of There's Something About Mary because they didn't blow any buildings up in New York in that movie that I know of.
What could have happened in 2001 that wouldn't have looked this? Oh, that 9/11 thing. Yeah,
that whole thing. Some people did some stuff. Yeah, that whole thing.
Some people did some stuff, and
I could say I could make a whole video. I've actually seen a few videos on YouTube about it. The way that 9/11 affected marketing and stuff like that. I mean, most famously, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, the first one came out. They had just, I think, a month before 9/11 released that first trailer where he's got the helicopter stuck in the spiderweb between the cars. And stuff like that, and obviously that very uber American ending that we ended up getting, where he's like, "Hey,
Spider-Man with the American flag, still one of the greatest shots in superhero cinema."
That is a great.
That looks amazing. I love that.
But the way that whole thing affected a lot of pop culture, marketing, film, everything it's pretty wild. I'd say I could make a whole video about it. The reality, there's 100 videos out there that have been made about it already. I've seen one or two of them, but you can go find those on the internet. Let's see. When it comes to the military, I'm going to go to this shot because I haven't used it yet. What do I do with it? I got so many pictures of this movie for this review I'm never going to use. Let's see. According to producer and co-writer Dean Devlin, the U.S. military had agreed to support the film by allowing the crew to film at military bases, consulting the actors who have military roles, etc. However, after learning of the Area 51 references in the script, they withdrew their support.
Maybe it's like they're covering up something they don't want us to know about. Maybe they got some little green men and some shiny, tinfoil suits over there.
They supposedly have them here.
Was
this military base. Have you ever heard of Hangar 18? I'm sure you probably have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One of the rumored locations of Hangar 18 is this military base. It's right here by where Jeremy and I live.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not just that. Hell, even here,
there, I'm sure they'll tell us about.
Even after the crash in Roswell, hell, they were part of the crash site stuff was brought here to my area of Texas. I mean, not long after. It'd be interesting to do kind of an alien discussion one day. I'm not sure where I stand on that. I've never seen anything personally, but I believe. I mean, I love the X-Files. Just like the poster says, I want to believe it. I think there's something out there. I don't know.
The truth is out there.
There is
the truth is out there.
There is truly some shit that can be discussed. Let's see. One of my favorite actors in this movie is Robert Loggia. Great actor.
He was great.
Director Roland Emmerich was notified one day that Robert Loggia was very upset and was refusing to leave his trailer. Several days earlier, producer Dean Devlin accidentally suggested to Loggia that he watch Airplane from 1980 for inspiration, when he actually intended to suggest the movie Airport from 1970. Not familiar with either film, Loggia rented Airplane. After watching it, he thought he had unknowingly been participating in the production of a spoof movie. Glad he figured it out.
Yeah, that's a complete different genre. I mean, you couldn't get more different from that.
For real. But he was a serious actor. He didn't want to do a spoof. Did he ever really do anything comedy-wise? Let me get back up here and pull him up real quick. Robert Logan.
Not that I can think of. I will say he's got the perfect demeanor. Like when it's between like him and Arlie Ermey. When you think actor, military general, they're like the perfect guys for those roles, just because they radiate that within themselves.
No, romantic drama, police chase actions. I can't now. Granted, he goes all the way back to the 50s, and a lot of his early stuff I haven't seen. But I mean, he was an Officer and a Gentleman, good movie. He was in Trial of the Pink Panther, so maybe you can consider that comedy. Now I just remembered he was in Big. He was the guy he was the guy that Tom Hanks plays chopstick with, dancing on the piano. He was the store owner. So I mean, kind of comedy, yeah. He was in Necessary Roughness, so he did some comedy. That's true. He was also okay. He was the coach of Necessary Roughness. Okay,
I definitely couldn't see him in Airplane though. Like that. That's apples and oranges. Does not apply to that role. Most definitely.
Yeah, he definitely did some comedy. He was in that movie. He did some comedy. But let's see. Getting back to the trivia now. We'll go back to that amazing speech. At around an hour and 45 minutes, the president's speech was filmed on August 6, 1995, in front of an old airplane hangar that once housed the Enola Gay, which had dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima exactly 50 years earlier on August 6, 1945. Interestingly, the crowd was not scripted to start cheering. Bill Pullman's delivery of the speech was so good, they just started applauding and cheering on their own, and the filmmakers kept it in the movie.
Nice.
Hey, you know what? Like, if you ever need to get fired up for anything, just watch that speech. It's only a couple minutes, and it's clipped all over YouTube. That you could run through a wall after you listen to that speech a couple times. So yeah, I believe it. I mean, timing is great for when they did it, whatever. Considering the events that happened within this film and real life. But yeah, that's cool as hell.
Let's see. I'll use this picture next because I haven't used it yet. It's a good shot. At around the 2 hour and 10 minute mark, Jeff Goldblum uses one of his lines from Jurassic Park in this film and is delivered with the same intensity. Do you know the line, Jeremy?
Let's go faster.
Let's go faster. Let's go faster. I don't know if
it's actually. I think it's the actual like sampling from Jurassic Park. I think it's like the same sound actually, or he maybe overdubbed it again, and then he's just like, go.
Well, let's see. Jeff Goldblum turned into the Fly, so he did a creature feature. He faced dinosaurs. He faced aliens. Trying to think of it. Has he done any other monster kind of things? Not that I can remember.
I don't know if you want to go the comedy almost spoof route. He did Transylvania 65000 with Ed Begley back in the 80s.
Oh yeah,
where he goes to him and
I get technically Jeff Goldblum did play. He was
or something or other.
He was in Thor Ragnarok, so he's done some other stuff besides that. But I still say my favorite Jeff Goldblum is from The Fly. But I love that movie. That's
a great movie. We need to put that on the list. That's one that's
that's one we're talking about. That's one of those standards from the 80s that we need to present at some point.
Yeah, that is an absolute friggin' classic.
Oh yeah.
You guys want to talk about what could have been as far as some of the casting is concerned? Let's see. Matthew Perry was originally offered the role of Captain Jimmy Raven Wilder, but pulled out at the last minute. However, his father, John Bennett Perry, plays a Secret Service agent in this movie.
That's funny.
He would have been. Friends was on the air at this point.
Right? Wasn't Friends about to start airing in '94? So
Friends. When did Friends?
Or
no, this was '96, so Friends was already going.
Yeah, Friends was going. That's true.
Yeah.
When was like? No, that was later. The whole 9 yards was later. That's with him and Bruce Willis.
Yeah, no, that was like 2000.
Yeah,
2000 something.
94. Friends ran from September 94
because there was a whole 9 and the whole 10 yards. I actually like both of those movies. I saw those maybe last year, but yeah, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine Chandler Bing like he got the sitcom curse of, he was the Sheldon before Sheldon came along, the Urkel kind of thing. I can't see him and not see Chandler Bing. I couldn't have seen him and now Harry Connick Jr. I'm not taking him seriously either, but
I love Harry Connick Jr.
Well, at least Chandler Bing was actually funny, unlike fucking Big Bang Theory. But I digress.
Yeah, whichever comedy writer came up with Bazinga needs to be beaten in front of people. But
the knock on that theory is it doesn't really capture nerd culture. It makes it too glorified and cartoon.
Oh yeah, no, it's a farce of nerd culture for sure. But that crap was everywhere for a while. It was very annoying. I did not like it.
I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when Dave gets into the spaceship and turns on his computer, it utters the words "Good morning, Dave," just as HAL 9000 did in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that.
I think it's now. I'm sure it's probably. I don't think it's something that they did for fun. I think it's probably something that the character David would have done because it would have been cool. He's a computer dork anyway. So that movie was probably one that he watched in the regular. So him being named Dave. And
that's a movie I haven't seen in a long time. It's been probably 20 years since I watched 2001: Space Odyssey. That's some trippy shit out there. That's pretty far out there.
Yeah, let's see. Another thing that could have happened, somebody who could have played David Livingston was Matthew Broderick. He was actually offered the role of David Livingston.
Oh no!
But had to turn it down due to scheduling conflicts in their production. Roland Emmerich would eventually cast him in his next film, which would be Godzilla in 1998.
No, thank you. Once again,
really
brought up on war crimes for the tarnishing that he did to the great Godzilla. That's unforgivable.
I like Matthew Broderick. I really do. I mean, going back, obviously I'm a, John Hughes 80s, Ferris Bueller, all that stuff, even back to like Biloxi Blues. There's right around that time, he did a movie called Project X with the monkeys I don't know if you guys ever seen that. It's one of those really goofy 80s movies that it's supposed to have a lot of kind of action. It's a fun movie if you ever stumble across it somewhere. I'm probably not review worthy, but if it pops on TV one day and I see it, I'll usually stop and watch it. But so glad that he did not take the role. There is love Matthew Broderick as I do in just about everything he's done. He is not Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum has a different gravitas, a different screen presence, a different swagger, a different way of doing everything, a different way of being on camera it's better than Matthew Broderick. It's different than what Matthew Broderick brings.
Outside of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, there's nothing that Broderick's ever done that I liked, honestly. I'm not a fan of the guy.
You might get a kick out of Project X. It's a really campy, a bit silly, like mid-late 80s movie. But he's an Air Force private or something like that, a low-ranking Air Force guy who gets sent to this project where they're experimenting on monkeys with radiation. They're teaching the monkeys how to fly airplanes in a simulator. And what they're doing is after they've taught them how to effectively fly in the simulator, they put them in a special simulator that actually exposes them to high-level radiation while they're flying. And they test to see how long they can keep flying at a certain level before they die. And the idea is they're going to figure out how long our pilots can last if they're exposed to radiation and nuclear blast. It's 80s. We're still in the Cold War. We're still hiding under our desks and building bomb shelters.
Right.
So that's kind of what drives all that. Helen Hunt's in it as well before Mad About You before Twister when she was young and hot. But, she's
funny enough that you said Twister. Twister was the number 2 movie that came out in 96 behind this one. So kind of funny.
But I like Matthew Broderick's work. I just don't think that he could have brought to this role what Jeff Goldblum brought to this role. I also don't think you could have honestly put him up there as the estranged husband of the chick in the movie. She's way more, I don't want to say mature because it makes her sound old, but she's definitely way more seasoned in life than he is.
They wouldn't have fit together.
Even in 1990 something, and when he was in his 30s, he wouldn't have. Even now, with all of his gray hair and everything, he still got a little bit of the boyish looks. And he still, for a lot of years, he just looked like he was 20 years old. Well, you believe that somebody as young as him would have been a senior tech, whatever the hell David Levinson was in the movie, and at one point was married to this girl who is now the I think in the movie she's the communications director for the president. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that.
Matthew Broderick doesn't have the swagger that Jeff Goldblum does. Goldblum,
You're right.
huh?
No, you're right. He's not the same kind of actor. He doesn't have the same screen.
Yeah, he's kind of the all shucks kind of nerdy, quiet guy. Whereas, I mean, Jeff Goldblum doesn't present as like overtly masculine either. He presents as the quirky, funny guy that could get that woman. Matthew Broderick, to me, does not present, and he just doesn't have the look or the feel that would be needed. I mean, could you imagine him take that scene of him, of Jeff Goldblum walking up to the trash can, yelling at people about, recycling people, come on, or whatever. When Jeff Goldblum says that, you kind of laugh it off and whatever. If Matthew Broderick says it, you're giving him a wedgie and, hanging him from the flagpole. Kind of a nerdy kind of guy. Whatever.
See, another potential casting choice that I don't know. I like that we got Will Smith, but this one would have been interesting. Ethan Hawke actually passed on the role that eventually went to Will Smith, a decision that he said he later said he regretted.
Well, yeah, because this movie made $1 kajillion. I'd regret it too. Yeah, I was unrelated note, but I was just watching an interview with Matt Damon where apparently he got offered to star in Avatar in like 10% of the box office or whatever. And he's like that. Even to this day, like he regrets it. He will forever go down as an actor that turned down the most money ever in Hollywood. I'd regret that for the rest of my life. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Look, there's a million stories like that in Hollywood. I was just
well,
it's
all a gamble. You never know what roles are going to take off and what weren't. I mean, Robert Englund didn't think Freddy Krueger was ever going to be more than a one-time thing, and he ended up the face of that franchise. Yeah, you just never know what's going to hit.
Yeah, I mean, I was just telling my son earlier the litany of actors that turned down roles that ended up being huge.
Right.
Because we were watching a video earlier from John Campia's channel. I guess they're actually talking about rebooting Indiana Jones now. It's no longer a dream. There's
God, are we to that point finally? Are we there?
For all the bitching I do that people say that Hollywood does only remakes the sequels, they're not helping my argument here. But whatever. I mean, but I was telling him that Harrison Ford originally wasn't going to be in that movie. They originally offered it to Tom Selleck, and Tom Selleck turned it down. And he was just like, Tom Selleck opened that. I was like, yeah, but he didn't want to shave his mustache. So he ended up, and that was one of the main reasons why he ended up walking away from the role. And then Harrison Ford steps in and becomes, for the second straight franchise now, becomes the biggest thing in Hollywood. So he runs the through Star Wars into the 80s, and then runs the 80s as Indiana Jones. So
that's when you'll know Disney hasn't completely ran out of ideas for Star Wars, because I don't think we're too far off of, we're going to redo the original trilogy. I don't think we're far from that either. I think they're quickly running out of ideas, but I just suspect.
I don't see them rebooting Star Wars in my life.
I bet they do. I could
be wrong.
If I were going to put money on it, I'd say within the next 5 years they announce they're redoing the original trilogy.
No, I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime. I think it may happen eventually. I don't think it'll be in my lifetime.
I don't know.
But a couple more pieces of trivia. Let's see. What have I got here? Do we have a picture of an airport? No, we don't. So I'll just go to this one because I haven't used this one yet. Filming at the Los Angeles International Airport was actually delayed for several days due to a bomb threat from Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
Oh, there you go. Old Ted Kaczynski. Some good old MK Ultra there. I've got my theories on him. I don't have the time to get into them here, but that's another interesting conversation.
We'll do that on on a Saturday night, one of these nights, if we have anything on. We'll just come on here and talk aliens and conspiracy theories. I think it'll be fun. We could do that. But let's see. One more piece of trivia. If it were to have worked out, I'll go to this shot because I like this. I call this the Star Wars shot because it reminds me of the
or Spaceballs.
Spaceballs too. That's it too. But President Whitmore attacking participating in the attack on the aliens would have been the first U.S. commander-in-chief to lead troops into combat since James Madison took command of a regarded artillery battery to cover the retreat of the U.S. Army during the British attack on Washington, D.C. in 1814.
Well, yeah, it's not real good military strategy to put the commander-in-chief out front. I don't think I couldn't see Trump putting on a fighter helmet over that hair and be like, it's going to be huge, it's going to be great, we're going to get the aliens and do all the things. Yeah, I don't see that.
We're going to drop the bombs, the big, beautiful bombs, and jump on your face.
I'm not sure Trump could get in an F-16, much less anything else. I don't think that's happening.
I'm trying to think of any president since then that could even like walk or even be physical.
Well,
Obama when he took office, and even now, young enough, fit enough.
Obama,
Bush, Junior or
I would even say no. I mean, JFK was younger, but with the health problems that he had, there's no way he's getting a fighter pilot. I mean, the back issues and everything else. I don't think we've had.
Teddy Roosevelt would have gone there and kicked some alien ass, no fucking question.
Oh,
he went down to Cuba and said, "What's up, motherfucker?"
He'd have jumped in the back of a fucking horse, grabbed his sword, and just charged right at the fucking mother.
I know. If we told a younger Bill Clinton when he first took office that the aliens are going to blow up every McDonald's, if you don't take them out, he may have gone. Maybe Bill Clinton, but I don't know.
Have a Big Mac attack.
You gotta. You're trying to kill Monica. You got to stop him. He'd have been like, no.
Yeah. Tell him, tell Bill Clinton that the aliens have a bunch of fat interns that he can hit on. He'll be there tomorrow. Like, he ain't holding back now. But whatever.
Let me get my saxophone out, and I'll show you. I'll sing you guys a little tune.
Soylent Heaven one says Obama's a weakling. She would get bench pressed by her husband, Big Mike. Yeah, it's possible.
Oh, send Big Mike. Oh, there you go. We send First Lady Big Mike over there, and she can just, take everybody out with her nut penis that he totally doesn't have.
Send female Patrick Ewing up into space. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You know what? If you think about it, Bill Clinton would have had the ultimate Moab. He could have sent Hillary up there to nag these fuckers to death. They'd have been like, you know what? It's not worth it. We're getting the hell out of here.
Hold on. Do you really want someone like Hillary Clinton dealing with like computer viruses? And you know how she handles emails, so I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Shit.
Maybe not.
What do you mean wipe a swerve? What do you mean with like a cloth? Oh, okay, Clinton. We know exactly what you're doing. You criminal, but whatever.
Now, I'm done with the trivia for right now. But one thing I meant to put in the rundown for the show and I forgot to was the effects. Real quick, I'll go to you first, Jeremy. What do you think of the effects of the movie? Some people think they're dated. Some people think they weren't done very well. I think that's actually quite wrong. I think the special effects hold up fairly well. I've seen behind the scenes stuff of how they did things, especially the flames and fire going through the cityscapes and all that. Very interesting how it was all done. What do you think of the effects? Does it hold up to you, or are they looking a little dated?
They still hold up. This is still in that time that, it's still like a lost art form now. It's like there's still love put into these scenes, into like miniatures, into I don't think they really did many like back in the day with matte paintings and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? It's like there's an art to this, and this is like the tail end of like not really doing that anymore. It's not that there aren't like probably computer effects in this too, but they still look pretty great. A
lot of it was practical.
Yeah, and like that, you can it's a green screen. It's not like great, but you don't care. It's the end of the movie. They won. Whatever. Blew up you promised the sun fireworks, so you got aliens exploding. I mean, what more could you ask for? But I think it works because it still sells the illusion of like you get what you're seeing on screen. I mean, it all ties together with, again, like the acts that the actors bring to the table. So. No, it's still, again, it's still in that time where it's still got, still got the love there where you make stuff. And it's like, I've seen, as we've said many times, I'm sure there's things now that look absolutely fucking horrendous. And I'm like,
Hitchcock made birds believable that they were killing people like fucking 70 years ago, and you can't make this work. Like, really?
Love me some Hitchcock. Great director.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So you're right. So hey, he made you fuckers scream over chocolate syrup being poured down the drain. So I'm just saying.
He made you scared of a shower curtain. Come on now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I think
curtain in a simple silhouette of a dude with
the shower
knife.
Okay.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So it's like it can be done, but I wish we still did stuff like this.
I don't know, Tex. What do you think? Some of the visuals here are just outstanding. I mean, this.
Yeah, from what I read, like the ship,
I love this.
The ship rolling in, like piercing through the clouds. Apparently, that was like water poured through dirt or something with light behind it or whatever. I forget exactly how they did it, but of course, there's some green screen in there. I mean, obviously, but they did a lot with miniatures and everything else. And I think that's what Jeremy was talking about. Like, they don't do miniatures anymore with movies. It's all, throw it in the AI, the CGI computer, it'll look fine. And then we get crap like the Silver Surfer in this new Fantastic Four movie that looks god awful. It just doesn't look good. Yeah, these effects look dated, but you know what? I'll take this over 90% of the crap we're getting today because the miniature look, the practical going into it. I mean, we've said it on here 1,000 times. I will take practical effects as a base every single time. Yeah. Sure, you can enhance whatever, but actually put the effort in, create the miniatures, do what you need to do. They didn't really blow up the White House, like Jeremy talked about, the Empire State Building. That's not actually there, whatever, but it works. And especially in a movie like this, you need the big bombastic effects to, oh my God, they just blew that up, whatever. And, you need the actual explosions to solidify it.
Yeah, I thought the effects here are pretty good. The only shot that, as I was watching it, I was like, "Good God, this is not working well." Is this one right here? I know that this still image doesn't really do its justice, but as I was watching this particular shot in the movie, I was like, "This looks like something out of Command and Conquer from the '90s." It was like that bad. The flames burning along the building. You could tell that they're not even in the. You could tell that it's layered not quite right. They didn't get the depth right. I mean, like the ship, the thing closing on the ship after it releases Hell on New York was okay, but the burning skyline of New York did not look good at all. I mean, it was definitely some mid-90s shit that they had put on there. It didn't look good. It looked good for video games. It didn't look good for live action. That was my biggest problem. Everything else, though, I mean, some of these videos are just stunning.
Oh, that looks great. Yeah,
and like those, like rolling over the Brooklyn Bridge, I was like, holy shit, these look amazing. But I'm gonna go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, and this isn't so much effects wise, but it's relevant to the shots that you're presenting. How do they not see this ship? It literally, they like, oh, it's on the other side of the moon. No, it wasn't. It was on the face side of the moon, facing towards her. You're telling me Air Force pilots and the government couldn't see spaceships the size of a city coming somewhere? Like, you want me to believe you're not, completely stupid? Like, once again, plot point, not effects, but it still fits theme wise. I've always found that kind of hilarious. Oh, we didn't see that thing coming till it just appeared out of nowhere. But I guess you have to. That's part of that. Just shut up and enjoy the movie kind of. What?
Yes, it happens just like that. Next one, please.
treat that. It's just a yes and. You're just. It's a comedy routine. You just accept it and move on. So whatever.
Jeremy, what were you about to go to? I can see you put it on there.
Don't worry about it. More about that on Thursday.
Okay. But I do want to knock this movie for one little thing. Now a lot of people saying city-sized spacecraft. That's so crazy. That could never be good. How do you even make a movie about that? Actually, they made a television show about this. It's one of the greatest science fiction television shows.
V.
Yeah. It's like, so a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, I've never seen this before." I'm sorry, you've never seen that before. I mean, that's
well, it's just so stupid. It's like whenever Will Smith first wakes up everybody's like in awe of what they're seeing. It takes him like a good 30 seconds of, just being a complete moron. Like, oh my God, look at the gigantic thing that's darkening the sun. Like, how do you not notice this thing? Like, my Lord.
Yeah, for those of you who have never seen V, this is the image right here of when the alien spacecrafts arrive in V, the miniseries, which is by far, it's one of the top 5 miniseries that's ever been done on television. I don't give a shit.
I think they came back with a reboot of V like maybe 10 years ago or so.
2009.
2009. I saw a little bit of it, but I didn't watch all of it.
I watched it. It was good for 2009.
Was it?
It was a reboot, not a sequel. I would rather than done a sequel series, to be honest. But they brought back Jane Badler, who played Diana. She's playing Diana again, but a variant, I guess is the word, a different version, because it's a reboot. It's not the same universe. They didn't
bring back Robert Englund. I know that.
They brought back Mark Singer. He's in the very last episode in like a cameo that is supposed to set up shit that's supposed to happen in the next season, but the show got canceled. So none of that was ever brought to fruition. The irony is that because V, the miniseries, came out and it did gangbusters. It was huge. It was one of the big. I think it's one of the top rated series of all time.
It was a good miniseries.
Then they came out with V, the Final Battle, which was a second miniseries that came out a year or two later, and that spawned V, the series. V, the series did not do well because Kenneth Johnson, who was the writer of all this, who, by the way, I mean, was also the writer and showrunner and one of the creative talents behind, Bionic Woman, The Bionic Man, The Incredible Hulk with Bill Bixby back in the 70s. He did Alien Nation, the television series that was based on the movie, which is a fantastic science fiction movie. He was one of the writers and directors for Adam 12 back in the 70s. I mean, the guy had his hand in a lot of stuff in the late 70s, early 80s. It was just huge. But he didn't come back for the series because he didn't like the way that they were wanting to slash the budget at the last minute, and that led to the quality of the series not being quite as good as it should have been, although I still think the series was fucking awesome. But yeah, I mean, so part of me has always looked at this as kind of a V ripoff. I mean, the aliens in V, I think, are
a bit,
different. Obviously, the aliens are different. They look human. They're actually lizards in human suits. But and these are just flat out aliens who just want to kick your ass. Big gang.
Well, these are just more of your typical grays, like within the alien world.
But if you want something awesome, go watch V, the miniseries. I actually have the miniseries on DVD.
Is that streaming anywhere? I wouldn't even know where to watch the original.
I think everywhere that I found it, it's behind a paywall. I think it's on Prime.
Okay.
But everywhere I found it is behind a paywall. But I do know that it's all out on DVD, and I think some of it's even on 4K. Huh. I think they even made a miniseries on 4K, the original, the first miniseries. I will eventually, even though I'm kind of off, I still like physical media. I still have all my DVDs. They're actually in a tote behind me right now. I got to figure out where the hell to put them all. But those are some DVDs that I have to have. I'm going to go buy both the miniseries and the entire season of the television series on DVD to have, because they are very watchable, and they do walk a good line between effects, story, and like the socially how the world was at the time. With it, obviously some of the people hate the aliens because they are prejudiced and not because they have any good reason. Some people hate the aliens because they realize they're actually bad guys. Some of the aliens are actually good guys and don't want the aliens to do bad shit to the human race. It's a good balance of social commentary and sci-fi and character work. So, and some good effects in the miniseries. The TV show, not so much. They reuse a lot of shots, and it's badly obvious because there are some that even my 8-year-old self, when I was watching, was like, I've seen this exact shot 75 times in the series already. Can we shoot another one? But yeah, it's fantastic. Way ahead of its time.
Hey,
and I know
that's called low budget production, sir. That's what that is called.
The writer Kenneth Johnson, he's in his 80s now. Kenneth Johnson, who created all that, is in his 80s now, and he's been trying to get a sequel series or miniseries done for most of the last 20 or 30 years. He even actually wrote the V, the Second Generation, I think is what he wrote, and it's a book.
I've never heard of that.
He wrote the book. He didn't write it as a script. Yeah, I think he ended up writing the book. He ended up releasing it as a novel that ends up being the direct sequel to the miniseries. It does not it
Okay.
does not take place after the events of the series that we know. It takes place after the events of the last miniseries, so it kind of retcons the entire TV series, not the miniseries. But it's like I said, we've seen it before. I mean, who did it better? Was it V or was it Independence Day?
I wish I could have found a picture and been wrong. It was Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
There you go. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, another good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've been wanting to do that a while. I've been wanting to do that one for a while too.
Between if you, I don't know, Close Encounters and Independence, I like both. For fun purposes, I'd go Independence Day. But Close Encounters of the Third Kind is really good.
Oh yeah, Close Encounters is definitely more of a cerebral film. It's more of
that's a different kind of film than what Independence Day is. They're both good.
Yeah, by far, but both very good movies, of course. But
yes, but that was my funny segue from Aliens to Richard Dreyfuss and Richard Dreyfuss to Jaws. So that was where I was going with that. That was my bridging the gap.
God, I cannot wait for Thursday.
Only 3 degrees of separation between these things. That's not bad, Hollywood.
How soon can we get to Kevin Bacon? That's all I need to know. That's all I need.
Hey, just pick a movie. All of them are good. I actually just watched a movie with his from the late 80s called Quicksilver. He plays a stockbroker.
I've never seen that one.
It wasn't a huge movie. I mean, it was probably a blink and you miss it movie even when it came out in the mid-late 80s. But he plays a stockbroker who loses all of his money in the stock market. That's the half of the drama movies involve some stockbroker losing his ass in the stock market back in the 80s, especially after the Black Friday in 87.
Greed is good, my friend. You learn nothing from Wall Street.
Exactly. But he loses all his money, becomes a bicycle messenger, and then at the end of the movie, he gets the money from his dad because he's got a hot stock tip, and the drama of him trying to make all his money back and make it all right, and the drama of the relationship between him and his woman, and blah, blah, blah. Right. Other crazy shit. Somebody tried to kill one of his bike messenger friends, and some shit happens, and it's all like that. It's an entertaining movie. I mean, probably not quite review worthy, at least not anything in depth. It's one of those things where if I wanted to do like a quick 10-minute review, I would do that. But yeah, I don't know. It's Kevin Bacon. It's not bad. I mean, if I'm going to go Kevin Bacon, I'm going either Footloose because it's a classic, Tremors because Tremors is awesome.
I go Tremors or Hollow Man. Either way.
Oh, we did Hollow Man already.
Hollow Man. Well, I'm saying if I'm going to watch Kevin Bacon, I'm either going to go Tremors, Friday the 13th, the original, just for Kevin Bacon because I don't care about Mrs. Voorhees or Hollow Man. But Hollow Man's my favorite.
Sure. His death in that movie is awesome, though. That's a pretty cool.
He gets the arrow through the neck. It's great.
For those of you who don't know, I'm not saying he got shot in the neck with an arrow. It's a very slow, painful.
No,
you gotta see the kill. It's a good one. But
if you haven't seen the original Friday the 13th, what the hell are you doing watching this podcast? Go watch that movie.
You're way behind the curve for us.
What are you even doing?
What's up, Crazy Blade? You came in right at the end. We're just getting ready to wrap it up. So if you
Crazy Blade?
Go back and watch this stuff. Good to see you. I haven't seen you a lot since the derailed days. So good to see Mello in here earlier, Crazy Blade in here now. Good to see some of the old derail crew popping in. But you can catch Mello over on Ken's show over on Foul Mouth Network. Go catch him over there. Ken's one of the things that I'll listen to during the day when I don't feel like listening to music or a podcast. It's right over to Ken and listen to his most recent stream.
Ken does good shows.
Ken does good shit, man. Go watch Foul Mouth Network. But good time to start wrapping things up there. Let me get your guys' final thoughts. I'll start with you, Tex. Give me your final thoughts on Independence Day.
Oh yeah, no, like I started off with, this was one of my grandfather's favorite films. Every time I watch this movie, it puts me back into this is one of those time capsule movies for me. Being a kid, going to my grandparents' house and them putting in VHS tape and smoking the cigarette, and us just enjoying that film and whatever. It's one of the summer blockbusters. It's got to be top 5 at least, or at least top 10 of all time. Don't think too hard about it. Overtly criticized unjustly, in my opinion. Could have been trimmed a little bit, but you know what? You have fun with it. If it's just like Jeremy said earlier, this is a yearly watch for me. I watch this every July. I love this movie. It's awesome. Go watch it if you haven't seen it.
And to my friend Jeremy, give me your final thoughts on Independence.
Yeah, it's a it's a pretty fantastic action movie, sci-fi movie. It's a good popcorn movie. I mean, if you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but
Right, yeah.
go and watch the one and only movie that they ever made of this entire one movie.
Yeah. No,
I concur, sir. I concur.
No other movies exist in this franchise at all.
Yeah. It's a really open and shut case. It's a wonderful story. Yeah, this is of on the calendar of stuff that I watch on certain days or certain holidays. This is obviously the one I picked for 4th of July. It's a yearly watch, like I said. It's I don't know what you want, man. There's aliens and the entire world just giving a middle finger to a bunch of aliens who, and I love that their whole mission is just like they're just like, yeah, we just want you to die. It's like, oh, okay, well, we can play that game, So it's a fun movie. Definitely go watch it.
Yeah, it's a classic. I mean, it's to go off what Jeremy said. Every major holiday has this like list of movies that you feel like you need to watch. For Halloween, you'll watch a horror movie. Freddy, Jason, Mike Myers. For Christmas, you watch a good Christmassy movie like the Santa Claus.
Terrifier 3.
I was going to say Terrifier 3. I was getting there. I was going to say Christmas.
Come on, man.
But Independence Day, you watch Born on the 4th of July, you watch Independence Day, you watch something like that because the Patriot. This is one of the movies that you watch this holiday, not just because it shares the name with the holiday.
Maybe you could watch that movie on 4th of July.
Maybe we could.
Something like that. Sorry, I just wanted to show off my Jaws 50th merch that I got.
It is kind of one of those movies that's synonymous with this particular holiday, and it's great. It's great to watch. I mean, is it a perfect movie? No, it's got some spots in it that aren't fantastic, but I mean, to be absolutely honest, I can look past all that and just enjoy the movie. It is available if you have a Hulu account. It's on Hulu right now. Independence Day Regurgence is on HBO Max or something like that. That's
what's that thing? I've never heard of that.
It's got same name, different. It's the low budget remake that was done by.
So it's garbage. Gotcha.
Yeah, garbage. It was the Hallmark Channel. Hallmark Channel tried to do a off-brand sequel. That's what they did. But Mela Yella saying without Will Smith, this movie wouldn't be the same. Well, that's why the second one failed. In large part, I mean, for one, the story.
I think it makes the Sci-Fi Channel movies look like fucking Shakespeare.
Yeah, really. As a matter of fact, I was just looking at one of the movies that Roland Emmerich was a producer in, was that Eight-Legged Freaks. That movie that came out years ago that I watched about 10 minutes of, and I was like, I was hoping to watch a scary movie, but really what I'm getting is a spoof horror movie, and I can't do this right now. It's not what I'm wanting to watch, so I just kind of never went back to it. I'm sure it's good though. I mean, go watch it if you can. But you can find Independence Day on Hulu right now, I believe. If you have a Hulu account, you can find it there. Give it a watch. It's the perfect time of year to watch this. We're 4 to 3 days away from popping up fireworks and putting some meat on the grill, putting some meat on the fire, and celebrating the birth of our nation. So it's a perfect week to watch. Go Hulu. America, bitches. We're building alligator Alcatraz and we're fucking grilling
1776 England, you suck. A bunch of dirty farmers beat your well-regulated army. Yeah, take your wigs and get the hell out of here.
I would rock one of those wigs in battle. Put one of those wigs on. Put the Kevlar over it. Let's go. I'll do it.
No, man. I'm grabbing my American flag like Mel Gibson, yelling freedom as I shiv some tea-sipping Brit. I'm doing it sleeveless, by God. We're going American style. It's all good.
That movie is so fucking inaccurate, but it is still a great fucking movie.
No, yeah. Don't take any of it seriously, but
no.
Watch The Patriot, listen to some Toby Keith. If that don't make you love America, just get the hell out of here. I don't know what you're doing. It's all good.
Yeah, go check it out on Hulu if you want. Thanks to my co-host for being so awesome as always. The Shape of the Lone Star State, my man Tex. Where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Well, tomorrow you will find me. I caught a lucky break. I have a long lunch. I will actually be seeing the new Jurassic World tomorrow So I will be sending Frank a non-spoiler early out of the theater reaction that he can post up the channel. If you want spoilers, I guess you could message me and I'll charge you $5 for it. But, we'll see how it goes. But I'll post that here. And then there is one show I did want to recommend. I always like to do a recommendation. If you have Shudder or AMC Plus, you got to have access to Shudder. I found a new show on there. It's called Hell Motel. It's a kind of a low budget kind of thing. Basically, without giving away spoilers, there's a murder of a couple that happens at this hotel in the middle of nowhere 30 years ago. And then 30 years later, this couple reopens the hotel, and 10 true crime obsessed people of different varieties go to the hotel to investigate it, and then bad things happen. There's only 3 episodes out so far, but I've watched all of them. It's a really fun show. It's a low budget horror thing with really cool deaths and some interesting character dynamics. I can't recommend it high enough. So if you have Shudder, go watch Hell Motel and be looking for my out of the theater Jurassic World reaction.
And to my hetero life mate Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you, sir?
I'm here Tuesday and Thursday. I just got way too many pictures for Jaws, but that's okay. I will try to.
But do you have a big enough boat? That's all we need, for sure.
Oh, I got that, but
okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to fucking chill here with the pictures, but I got some good ones just to prove the point. So yeah, I'll be doing that. I do have a picture. I was like, I do tend to sit here and wear my little thing is the sunglasses and the bandanas, and I'm like, you know what?
Oh!
This thing right here is pissing me off.
No, I've got you beat on 4th of July sunglasses. You will see Thursday, sir. You just wait.
That has nothing to do with the sunglasses. But I was like, this shit is pissing me off because it's way too damn hot to be wearing all this fur on my face. So I'm like, maybe I'll give you guys a little bit of a treat on Thursday.
Hell yeah!
Rock a little bit
Best
of Captain
character
there with a bandana and 6 sideburns and a little mustache. A little crusty boat captain. So
I don't think I can get my sideburns to grow in quite that awesome between now and Thursday. I wish I could. If I'd have thought about it.
It's gonna look
we just need to all get really hammered drunk and sing pirate songs on Thursday for Jaws. That's what we need to do. Yeah.
We just need to do that every day.
Hey, what do you think I'm doing right now? I'm singing the pirate song part. It's fine. I'm saving that for the show. I'm keeping my powder dry. So, all good.
What's wrong with getting drunk and singing pirate songs every day? Maybe that's the problem. There's not enough people getting drunk and singing pirate songs.
We got some big
ahoy!
I like your singing.
Captain, my captain. There you
go. You might punch a hole in your boat.
Right.
We'll need another boat. Anyway, as I said, you will see us back here on Thursday. Jeremy's going to be running that stream, but it's one of the movies that we've been chomping at the bit, giggity, if you get it, to get at for a while. We're going to be doing Jaws, one of the premier horror films ever made. The film that made it scary to go swimming in the ocean. One of the top. Some people say it's one of the top 10 films ever made. There's an argument to be made for that for sure. But the movie that made Steven Spielberg, we're going to be getting into that on Thursday.
Best movie. I love this movie.
The best shark movie ever made, based on a book.
Yeah.
I haven't even read the book. I need to read the book though, because I've heard it's amazing. I've heard the book and this film are equally as amazing, which is not something that happens very often when you get a movie that's based on a book. But yeah, this movie is fantastic. It is a classic. Some people say one of the best horror films ever made. Some people say one of the best films ever made. We'll give you our thoughts on Thursday. I'm really looking forward to that. Thanks to my co-host for being so awesome as usual. Thanks to all of you guys for being awesome. We very much appreciate you coming and hanging out with us tonight. We'll be back here on Thursday. And don't forget to go like, share, do all that stuff. YouTube doesn't do anything to help out channels like us. So
like us on Rumble. We need Rumble.
Spread us all around all your friends. Pimp us out on Rumble, Twitter. Do all that stuff to help us grow the channel. I'm not doing anything through YouTube. They can kiss my ass. So we will see you guys on Thursday. Till then, adios. And I played the thing way too fast. I was going to play it again for a minute while we play. See?
Well, we can just sit here and BS. That's fine.
How internet famous are we? Can I start like pulling shenanigans and get away with it? Is that how famous we are?
Not yet. Once we get to like Mr. Beast levels, maybe we can get a little crazy. Until then,
motherfucker, if I had Mr. Beast money, I wouldn't have any of these problems in the world.
So if I had Mr. Beast money, you never know it because I wouldn't be here. I'm like owning it, the Dallas Cowboys and running it properly with whatever.
Exactly.
If Tex had Mr. Beast money, he would already be in prison for trying to accost some of the Dallas Cowgirl cheerleaders.
Hey, shut up, Frank! Don't give away my plan, dude. What are you doing? Come on, man.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.